I'm lucky to be joined by two gentlemen who I really enjoyed chatting with, and I'm glad we got to do it on the record officially here on the show. Joshua A. Friedman, Vorovon Nachum-Pasek from Crew Me Up. What's up, guys?
Hey, thanks for having us.
Afternoon, sir.
Yeah, to save you the trouble, just call Vorovong V.
Yeah. I like to be respectful, so whichever you like, I'm going to call you.
I actually have to honor and commemorate the effort, so I appreciate it. That's cool.
That must happen to you a lot. I mean, because so where are you originally from?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Actually, I was born in Scarborough, Ontario, Canada.
Okay.
So I'm Canadian.
My sister from another mother is from Ontario.
Yeah.
So I promised her that after, like, once things kind of settle down in Canada, I would make a trip up there because I've never been to Canada, so I have no clue what's
You will love it. The food and
up
the people and just the culture and the music. It's lively. It's awesome. It's a whole different scene. I know you're used to New York, but Canada is different. It's a different
you know how
vibe.
New Yorkers do. We get stuck in our ways sometimes.
Yeah.
But I'm not like that. I'm okay with going and trying out new things, especially new environments. Plus, hey, I've been in the house for almost 18 months, man.
Yep.
So how and Josh, where are you originally from?
So I was born in Connecticut, raised in Georgia, but my family's from New York, so I came back. Yeah.
Wow. What part of Georgia?
Alpharetta, so right outside the perimeter, just north of Atlanta.
Yeah, my sister's down there right now, actually.
Oh, mine too.
Yeah, I went there for my nephew's graduation like 3 years ago for the first time. It was nice. It was a nice
That's
area.
gorgeous. Great place to visit.
Yeah, it's a great place to visit.
Now, if you left something out about where he's from, you got to tell him about the bloodline.
Oh my gosh. So my family is from Laos, and we were on a call, and somebody's like, "Hey, like your last name is that from like you're from Laos, right?" And like I was surprised that he even guessed that because not many people do. But my family's last name is derivative from the royal family pretty much of Laos.
Oh wow!
So they used to Laos used to be like a monarchy. And we were one of the royal families, not Champasakis. And Champasak is a region in Laos, yes. So,
you got to start with that, man. That's like really drop the mic moment for you. So that's so cool.
I mean, for me, it's just like, it's a part of my culture. It's a part of my history and all that stuff. But, if people ask, cool, I'll tell. But well, I like the humble approach.
He's a humble royal.
That's okay. There's nothing wrong with being humble. I think the world needs a little bit more humble. So, so you guys are from different places. Where did you where did your paths start to when did you guys convert? Like, was it pre-Crew Me Up? Crew Me Up? Like, how did it all come together?
So I'll start this one.
I'll go for it.
Yeah, I think it's easier whenever I start this. For me, so I moved to New York about 5 years ago to pursue a career in stunts. During that time, I worked every single job under the sun in New York to survive. Stunts is obviously not something that anybody can just get into, and even if you're into it, work isn't guaranteed all the time.
Right.
So I was doing, like, one of the first jobs I got was cleaning porta potties. I was also working on spot. Yeah, I know, bro. It was like 3 a.m. calls, and every single time it was a struggle to wake up, and it was just like I asked myself every single day, yo, how much are your dreams worth? So that kept me going, just to show my family, show the people that I grew up with that, that if you push through, that you can make this succeed. obviously that didn't last. Like work for that company didn't last long. My dreams are worth a lot. Don't get me wrong, but you find other ways to make do and make income. So I worked every single delivery platform under the sun, Uber Eats, DoorDash, and then I partnered with this company called Homer Logistics, which introduced me to like a whole vast network of couriers. And then I started working for another one called Gesture.
Oh yeah.
Gesture is a gift delivery app that's currently functioning in all different cities across the United States. They're great. Check them out. And like I became really good friends with the CEO and the CTO, and I was like, oh, okay, all right. He started taking me under his wing, and I helped him develop the courier network for that app. And in doing so, I was still practicing and training stunts, and I used to train at a place called Brooklyn Zoo, where a lot of the stunt performers in New York train. And that's where I met Geronimo Frias, who is one of the owners of the Brooklyn Zoo, and Josh's and I's mutual friend. And I asked him one day, like, yo, man, you're acting. He's an actor. He does stunts as well. And, he's got his hands in every single thing you can imagine. So he's a hustler as well. And I had to ask him, yo, bro, like, you got a million things going on. How do you manage to handle anything? And keep sane? And he's like, yo, you just do one thing at a time. And it's like if you're not busy, you're just not, you just gotta stay productive.
Right.
When you find your speed, when you find your momentum, that's when things really take off. And he was like, oh, that's dope. I'm working for a startup right now. And he was like, oh, cool. I got an app. I was like, oh yeah, really? And then we got into it, and I was like, so you need help with this app or something? He's like, you know what? I don't know nothing about that. Let me introduce you to my guy, my business partner, and he could tell you way more. And that's how I got introduced to Josh. So yeah. So mutual friends, and Josh, this is where you take it off your origin story.
Wow.
Sure. So I started just like any superhero. I moved to New York at 22. I was really lucky. My guidance counselor in high school, she was married to a producer on Law and Order, and so I moved here.
Oh wow, okay, that's cool.
Right? Yeah, little itty bitty show.
I've never heard of that show. Is that show popular?
So it was Criminal Intent. It was season 7, and so I called the guy up like immediately after college. Hey man, I'm here. I'm in the city. I'm excited, and he was like, "Great, good luck." Click.
Oh.
Yep. So I said, cool. And, I got myself a bartending job. I worked Craigslist ads and music videos and student films. And then I called him up a year later and I was like, listen, man, I'm still trying to break in. I could really use the help. This is what I've been doing. And 2 months after that, I got a call from an assistant director on Law and Order saying, we've got this walkie position open. It's yours if you want it. I said, I have no idea what that means, but yes.
You're like, hell yeah, I'll do that. Whatever it is, I'm doing it.
Exactly. So that was kind of the beginning of the end. And so I was the walkie PA for season 7 of Law and Order Criminal Intent. And then towards the end of that season, the background PA left and went on to become an assistant director, did a movie called Frozen River. And I kind of bumped into that background position. And working background means that you sit with the extras and holding, you have a little bit more free time.
Yep.
So people kept asking me questions, and at that point, I got tired of repeating myself, so I kind of wrote things down, and I ended up writing a book called Getting It Done, the Ultimate Production Assistant Guide, which bridged that gap. That was it. It was because I didn't want to repeat myself, and like, if you want to geek out and go deeper, sure, let's talk details, let's get into it. Like, I love problem solving, but the basics.
Yeah.
So
it's funny,
Geronimo.
I was asked on the show I was on yesterday that same question, like why did I start, some of the things I've done? And it was exactly the same reason. I was like, because I just got tired of answering the questions. It was I'm like, I just here's all the knowledge. Take it and there you go.
Exactly. Grow and come back. Let's expand on this.
Exactly.
I love it. So that show, actually, Geronimo, who you just mentioned, he was a background actor on the show, and he was one of my uniformed officers. He's what I call an anchor. Anchors are the first people that assistant directors place, meaning I can trust you to wipe the camera. I can trust you not to distract from the actors and things like that.
Right.
So over the years, he and I became very friendly. And in 2016, we were both producing a movie in Texas called Warning Shots. I had to fire one of my staff members. The gaffer had a little tiff with my DP, so we had to send him packing. From Texas back to New York. I didn't have any resources. If it had happened in New York, sure. Atlanta, sure. California, got that covered. Texas, nope. So I turned to my producing partners. I turned to John Mo. I was like, we got to solve this. Like, Craigslist, staff me up, Mandy. It's not cutting it. They don't have the quality or the things that we need. And that was kind of the genesis of the idea for Crew Me Up. And then as a PA, I came back to New York and I literally had to hire 6 people within 12 hours. It took 60 phone calls to find out who was available. And so we started problem solving this. And then, like V said, he's like, yo, I got this guy. And so he introduced us. And then V introduced me to Ben. And the rest is a very long history.
Wow. That is the ultimate entrepreneurial story, right? I mean, that is like, I think, like, if there was like a book of entrepreneur stories, the first quarter of each person's story would read pretty similar, where you have 2 individuals or 3 individuals or whatever the team size is, and they're all kind of like grinding separately, and then there's one dude, and he's not only the anchor on your production, but he's also the anchor of your story, where he's the dude who connects you all, and then suddenly, without you even thinking about it, magic happens,
Exactly. He's that super connector.
Super connector, man. Everyone needs at least one of the 2 of those guys. Everybody needs a Kevin Bacon in their life. You know what I mean?
I worked with him. He is fantastic.
Yeah.
Season 1 of The Following. We shot here in New York, and such a professional, such a pleasure.
Yeah, I ran into him one time on the street, and he was like the nicest dude. He was looking for directions for something. I forget what it was, and I was just like, I gave him the direction, and then he's like, "Oh, thanks, man. Thanks a lot." And as he walks away, it just hits me who he was. I was like, no, really?
It's average Joe.
Just average Joe. I used to work in Macy's, and so I was in Midtown a fair amount of time, and I could count probably like 20 or 30 times that I used to run into Matthew Modine every other week, and to the point where, like, we would see each other, and he would go, "Hey, man, I've seen you. How's things going?" Just the nicest guy, sweetest dude, sweetest dude. But it was like he's kind of like this New York monument now, where if you see him, you're not surprised anymore. So it's kind of just like, "Oh, Matthew." So
awesome.
He's just a neighborhood guy.
He's just a neighborhood guy. So I was using your app. I wanted to look around, play around, see what was on there, and so my question for you is, like LinkedIn, you have like this kind of like this culture of individuals who are making who are becoming experts at the use of LinkedIn, and then they resell those services out to people. Like, hey, let me tell you how to pimp out your profile, and let me show you how. I could see that being the case for your app at some point too, where people, because as you look, you have a ton of people on there that are skilled people. I've learned over the course of helping filmmakers is that they are the worst at helping themselves, and they don't they will go onto a platform and they will only fill in what they think is necessary versus trying to really sit down, like say, look, I got a free 2 hours. I'm going to sit here, get on the app, and really just carefully lay out what my profile looks like to increase, the likelihood that someone looks at your profile and goes, because I was, just listening to your story here. There's not a lot of time, right? Sometimes for you to kind of hire somebody. So you want to be able to look at like a profile and get a really good snapshot of what this person can do that makes you want to delve deeper into what they're doing, like their profile, so that you go, this guy gets it. I want to contact this dude. So is this something that you think is going to be like, do you anticipate that kind of experience?
I'll be honest, I actually don't. And the reason for that is we've designed the profiles in such a way where all the information that somebody needs to hire you is right there, one click away. Nice. So that's your website. If you're a DP, that's your resume as a PDF. That's an area where I could see this. People offering, resume bump ups or let me fix your website, things like that. Sure.
Right.
But those are happening anyways, so I don't see that as coming through Crew Me Up. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is IMDb. We offer the IMDb link right on the profiles, so it tells you exactly what that person's done. And I know when I hire, the only questions I have are you available? What have you done? Who have you worked for? And if I know who you've worked for, I probably worked for them, so I understand how you work or the experience you've had. And if I have any more questions, I'll call those people.
Nice. I think it's an app that certainly has an important role to play in the ecosystem of film. Not even because I'm talking from a New York standpoint because that's all I really know, right? I mean, I know New York, I know LA. Those are the two things that I know for sure, right?
But everything else is third area.
but it's also important though too, because like you said, like Texas, Oklahoma,
New Mexico, North Carolina.
All these places that have good, especially places that have what you call decent tax breaks, which are going to get a lot more productions coming in the state. They need this because it's like you're talking. I could go next door and probably find a filmmaker, right here in New York. But
is it the right filmmaker?
Is it the right filmmaker? But also because if you're in like a place that has a lot more landscape, that you can't walk next door to meet anyone. You know what I mean? You're going to need to have that virtual experience to be strong, that mobile app to be strong.
We got to call the two productions up in Albany we got a call from. So in the city, PAs and staff are a dime a dozen. Up in Albany, everybody's got a house. It's a drive away, exactly like you said.
Yeah. I mean, people, I think you don't understand. I think what COVID has taught me is that people have underestimated the digital mobile experience for a long time. And because of COVID, now they're like, oh, I see, I get it. I know now why this is important for me to have some experience on these platforms, because life is never as perfect as you expect it to be, and things happen. You've got to, especially when in the film industry and television industry, there's no such thing as, well, I guess we can't do it. Oh well. No. You figure it out. This is what your job is. And this allows a person that needs to figure it out an easy way to figure it out. And I like it's the use of the app is pretty easy to use and calendar driven, which is cool because you can see who's available when. Those are all aspects. Like if I'm a production coordinator, or if I'm producer or director, or whoever is on that staff responsible of making decisions, this is a great place for you to start. And then I was reading on an article that I think you were talking, and I guess your 2.0 eventually will come out and offer an even more plethora of things, which
So exactly what we learned, what we built, what's available, is really great, but it's not practically functional for the industry, because this industry doesn't work like any other labor platform, like any other marketplace. It's a community. It's people. It's friends. It's professionals with skills who like each other and want to support each other.
Right.
And so the 2.0 is all about that community aspect, starting with the social, and then right down to we're adding organizations, we're adding detailed bells and whistles. So instead of one-off posts, people will actually be able to customize their hiring abilities.
What do you think is harder? Launching the platform or keeping it running?
Very good question. Be you.
Oh man, launching
The entrepreneur
or
in me right
running.
there.
It's funny because our startup journey, like I obviously we can only speak to our story, but I feel like it's not really been like the most regular. I mean, it's been like a roller coaster. Accurately describes the experiences that we've been to.
So every time we do a product launch, we lose one of our developers. Every time we get new members in a marketing push, something else happens and we get pulled away.
As soon as 1.0 was ready to launch, guess what happened? COVID. Industry shut down. Yes.
Yeah. So January 2020, we launched the MVP. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. We had 500 members when we launched in January 2020, and then COVID, mid-March, boom, done. But the incredible thing, and this is actually a testament to V, we pivoted, and instead of focusing on, hey, come to us, use our product, etc., we turned to, here's what's going on in the industry. Stay safe, stay healthy, the white papers, the safe way forward, the AMPTP agreement.
Right.
We were very involved with the New York Production Alliance and just listening to the conversations that were happening and then informing our audience. And because of that, I mean, we have 3,300 filmmakers on Crew Me Up right now because V has kept in touch with everybody over the last year.
It's kind of like, if you're with a group on a trip and you're all staying at this hotel, but then during the middle of the night there's a fire, at least one person has to be kind of like the person that pulls everybody together and communicates, okay, we're going to be doing this now, and that's what the community needed for you guys to do, which was to turn it into, instead of like this social and business aggregator, into now this community liaison of sorts, to kind of help them understand what was happening in the industry, and deliver it in a way that because you guys are in the industry, so you know what they need to know. You know what I mean?
We're still working. Like both V and I have been back on set working post-COVID on features, on TV shows. So we've been part of the protocols as well as learned about them and shared.
Yeah, that's what I've heard from a lot of different people who have been on the show. We ask them, like, how has COVID impacted what you've been doing? And everyone, which is cool, I guess, is to find out is everyone has had their own way of kind of pivoting into different things to adapt and continue to do what they want to do. And my hats off to you guys for being able to do that, because it's a tough challenge. It's been a tough challenge for a lot of people, but especially when you're just launching, that is a savvy move, boy. Let me tell you.
I think the thing that we definitely emphasize is that, and we definitely try to practice what we preach. Community is important.
Right.
You know, just being able to connect with as many people as we can. You know, provide, like, even through social media, provide relevant, you know, down to earth slash, you know, lighthearted content that is relatable. You know, we want to be part of the conversation. We want to support. We want to help, and you know, we want to reach out to people that are doing the same things and that want to help others as well. And we want to help each other grow. And I think that's definitely heartfelt, and that's one of the reasons why we reached out to you. You know, and my film off has been around for a long time, and you know, you've been doing such good work for the community. You know, we got friends. You know, we just connected with the artistic standard, and they're doing great work for filmmakers as well.
Yep.
You know, Women of Color Unite. You know, Michelle Bedford, the Queen.
Yep.
she is something else, and you know, she's doing great work. And you know, we love having these conversations because that's the only way that anybody's ever going to get anywhere in this industry. You know, it's changing, and we know media is throwing everybody for a loop, only highlighting the negative things going on, but there's a lot of great work being done by so many communities, and we need to elevate that as well. You know,
Yeah.
as much as we highlight the bad, we got to highlight the good too. And these people are putting in work.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, we don't need to highlight the bad. Let's stay away from the bad. It happens. We'll acknowledge
the
it.
people who are doing the bad stuff are highlighting it enough. They don't need our help. Right? So, what advice would you give to you know, anyone who's coming onto your platform for the first time? What would be the first thing you'd want them to like know about the platform, and you know, what advice would you give them?
There's two things I would offer right off the bat. The first is don't get scared when there's no posts. Like it's not supposed to work that way. The idea here is not for you to go out and search for work. The idea is for you to have your profile there, and this leads into number two, which is link your website, link your resume, link your IMDb profile, because that's how you get hired. And if this is used properly, then your key PA, your key grip, your gaffer, your camera AC is going to come in there. They're going to search for the labor they need. They're going to find you, and they're going to click hire now.
That's good advice. That's solid advice. And you know, the first piece of advice I think is really important, because it's a mentality you're trying to break, right? Because it's like that mentality of going to Indeed and just going and seeing a list of jobs. That's not what you're trying to do. That is not.
Exactly.
You're not Indeed. You're actually a more personal experience than Indeed ever will be. So
yeah, if it was an actor, we would say get discovered, but because you're crew, it's be found.
Right, exactly. Who were some of the? So you guys have been kind of in the industry for a number of years. Like, so between the two of you, like, who are some of the inspirations that you guys drew from to get you into the industry?
Oh man, yeah, that's a deep one. As far as like, I mean, so as a kid, I told everybody, you know, I wanted to be when I was growing up. Everybody was like, oh, you know, I want to be a firefighter, I want to be a policeman, and I want to be all these sorts of things. And you know, I told everybody when I was a kid, I want to be a Power Ranger.
Okay,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm.
But you know, like as a kid, you know, you don't necessarily know how to differentiate real from reality, or like fake from reality. And you know, growing up, I think that's hard, because it's like, yo, then like my family used to love watching kung fu movies together, so that holds a very special place in my heart. You know, and just the fact that people are capable of so many crazy things. You know, you see Jackie Chan movies, Bruce Lee, and I think it's very important growing up from an immigrant family that you had strong male role models. You know, Traditionally, we grew up in a family that emphasized education. That
Mm.
that grew up respecting people with 4-year degrees, and that if you didn't have one, you wouldn't make it in life.
Right.
Um, and balancing between two cultures and two upbringings. Fighting to hold on to my Lao heritage and fighting to assimilate into the American dream.
Right.
It was tough. It was tough, and I want to make sure that, like, I think the most important thing that makes me get into this in the beginning is that I want to show people that grew up like me that there's other ways to live your life. There's so many ways to pursue the things that you truly want to do. you
Right.
know so what if you didn't graduate school? I got 1,001 useless talents. I kung fu. I can do kung fu. I break dance. I used to do capoeira. I ride my bike for miles and miles. And it's just like all these skills that I never thought I would have used. I'm training them. It's
Right.
encouraged, actually. And like, as a stunt performer, you don't prepare for the things that you may do. No, you prepare the things for that can potentially go wrong, and you can be
Mm.
ready for whatever. And I
Right.
think I take that with me when it comes to business as well. So I think
Mm.
it's brought me to a good place, and really pushed me as far as work ethic goes. So I try to push that. I improve every single day. I'm researching. I'm trying to, like, up my knowledge every single day, not for the sake of myself, but for the sake of those around me, those that depend
Right.
on me,
Right.
and my future, my kids, my future kids. The people that I grew up with. But yeah,
Mm. Mm. Wow.
yeah.
I dig it.
Yeah. I feel that because these we every, it's like you said, when you're a kid, you don't. Some kids can they they know right away. Some of them know, but they don't know how to, like, they see it. Like you said, Power Ranger, right? I mean,
Mhm.
but maybe there's something else behind that you're actually identifying with, not specifically trying to become a superhero, but maybe being an action star or a person who just fights for the little person or a
Mhm.
person that does the right thing. So there's a whole lot of layers to it once you grow up that you've unpacked um, to get you where you need to go. So I mean, for me, um, you know, I mean, Bruce Lee was like probably one of my greatest inspirations, and so and for film side of things, Star Wars obviously for me was the thing I wanted to get into special effects, and I was just like, you know, who knows what I would have done had those two things had not come into my life. I might be working at Macy's. I don't know. Um,
No, man. I mean,
not
you go down these paths for a different reason, and that's
yeah,
the thing. Just because you do one thing and end up doing a totally another, it doesn't necessarily mean your dream or your path is deviating.
yeah.
Josh and I share a love for Marvel movies. We love
Oh,
superheroes, and I think our mantra, a big part of what we do, is that we're not out here to save people, but we want to support, we want to
right,
help.
right.
And I think it still definitely plays into the things that we want to do. Deep down, we want to see the community improve. We want to feel the dreams.
Yeah,
If we build it, we will come, and we want to build a community that truly supports and loves one another.
yep.
It's a different way of
Speaking
doing
of
things these days.
Yep.
speaking of Marvel, I mean, Marvel. I love all things Marvel. I like comic books, but I love all things Marvel specifically. So I think Marvel has kind of changed the game in a lot of ways for film. Like it's so. What's crazy about it is I was watching. I forget. I was watching some talk show. It might have been Jimmy Kimmel or something, and it's weird how when actors talk about the potential of them possibly working for a Marvel product, it just blows my mind how like how much reverence they have for the Marvel title now, where they're like, oh, I hope I can work for Marvel someday. And I'm like, I remember when Marvel, like you said Marvel and people said nerd.
Mhm.
You know,
That was before Disney.
yeah. And so I'm like, anybody, like if we can make it possible for other filmmakers, other actors, other production staff to get on those kind of projects. Come on, man. That's like if I was able to help somebody do that, that's almost as good as me doing it. I'd be like, that's dope.
And that's the thing, we can. Like V and I have friends that are in the stunt community on those movies. I have friends that are PAs or department heads on those movies. And we can pick up a phone and say, hey, there's this really amazing kid, or there's somebody who's looking for an opportunity, and we can't do it for something that requires technical skill and responsibility to the point of liability. Meaning I can't put you in charge of something without experience, but what I can do is say, listen, when you've got a day where you're bringing in 10 additionals, can you make this person one of those?
What do you think makes a successful collaboration?
So many things. What kind of collaboration?
You tell me. Like, as because as filmmakers, as people working in film, that's our life. Our whole life is nothing but collaborations, regardless of whether it's you and your partner, or you working with the production crew, or you and the director. There's also so many collaborative experiences that you have to go through. But I would guess there's a couple of things that probably cut across all of them.
I mean, there's some great advice that I got very early on in my PA career, which was you can think of the set as a series of concentric circles, like a bullseye coming out from the center. And that bullseye sitting inside it is a tripod. That tripod supports the camera. You've got your director, you've got your DP, you got your first AD. Can I do that right? Yeah, that's your tripod. So those three humans help to steer the ship, guide it creatively, and communicate everything with everybody else in the outside circles. And it was taught to me as a PA, where my job as the key PA was to be on the outskirts of that inner circle, protecting that tripod. And outside of that was the staff PAs, making sure that everything between those two circles was taken care of and that we're protected from the things on the outside. And then outside of that was the additional PAs. And they're protecting us from the entire world and everything else. So it was a really, really good way for me to learn to look at things. Also helps with zone defense.
Yeah, I like his zone. Like I always tell her, why are you playing man to man when you can play his own? Come on.
Exactly.
What's one thing that you learned, like later in your career, that you wish you had learned that you would have known earlier? Or actually, a better question than that: what's one thing you learned later in the process of creating this company that you wish you had knew like on day one?
One senior developer who has 20 years of experience and costs over $100,000 a year is worth more than 3 junior developers who cost $50,000 a year and don't have the 20 years.
Yeah, I will tend to agree with that. I won't. There's a company a good friend of mine has, and if he ever hears this, he knows I know this, and I won't say his name. But when they first launched, they were using developers who, let's just say, probably the price weren't that high, and how they built the actual infrastructure was so terrible that he had to re-raise another, I think, $70,000 or $80,000 to have it all redone all over again. So he wasted almost 2 years of work, doing that.
Mhm.
And, just because he wanted to save a little bit of money. And, you know, I, I remember thinking to myself, because I've worked for a couple of different startups, so I know what happens behind the scenes, and I know how difficult it is. Like, to me, if you're going to do a startup that has anything that has to do with mobile or web or tech, you need to spend your money there. That
Mhm.
it need to have that. Everybody else, just whatever else, those guys have to be awesome
Yep.
because everything is on the line pretty much.
Well, they'll tell you, 50% of the code has to be rewritten more than half the time.
Right.
With inexperienced developers, that goes up to 70 or 80. With an experienced developer, it drops down to 30.
Right. It goes back to a saying that I always say is I would prefer quality over quantity at any rate, anytime. And that's with my friends. I want quality friends over quantity of friends. That's with my business collaborators. I'd rather have 4 or 5 really top-notch partners versus 20 big name group of partners that don't do anything at all. You know,
Uh-huh.
it does make a difference.
And we're the same way. We've said no to partnerships. We've said no to investments because it's not right. And we need to first and foremost serve the filmmaking community. That's where we kind of come from. And back to your question, to be my inspiration has always been Mr. Rogers. I grew up with that man, and the way that
Nice.
he educated and influenced, and I get goosebumps thinking about what he said to the Senate in the 60s, fighting for public access funding. What do we do with the map that we feel? Like, everybody relates to that, and
Right.
he made a genuine argument using storytelling, which is exactly what we do. And it fueled the community and a whole generation, and that's what we're here for. We're here to fix the problems of the last 2 decades.
Wow, Mr. Rogers, man, that's dropping some deep knowledge right there, man.
So that man swam every day, 30 minutes a day, his entire life. And if the pool wasn't closed due to COVID, I would be right there.
Really? Oh, seriously? Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Oh, yeah, it opens everything up. Lightweight, no tension, resistance. It's great.
Yeah, I think my thing is basketball. I play ball every other day, and because it just allows me to kind of just start the day fresh, get all that tension out of me, and just so the best thing that ever happened to me during COVID was the day they said you can go outside without your mask for a while because I was.
So how do you breathe while you're on the court?
You know what? It was funny because the first day I went out there, which probably would have been maybe like a month, 2 months ago or so, there was a guy who was on the other court playing in a mask, and I'm like, you're gonna die. You're gonna pass out, and I'm, because that's crazy. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna play with a mask on, but I was very happy to be able to get out and just get some work in, and what's raining? Yeah.
City's coming back to life.
Speaking of sports, are either you guys into any kind of sports? Basketball, football, hockey, cornhole? I don't know.
Oh my gosh! I mean, I'm down for a good game of darts or cornhole. Sports. I used to be big into like boxing and MMA, but I haven't paid attention in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as far as I'll watch a game every now and then. But
so, how do you guys unwind when you're not trying to think of new ways of conquering the world?
It doesn't stop. It's startup life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
it's
you know, because like sometimes I just like I do like I do go into like a bike ride. You know, I love being active. You know,
mm,
I'm still into martial arts. I still do like I train my friends. They do parkour and all these stuff, and just being active. You know, it's great when the things that you love are the things that you do as well. And
yes.
you know, just because just because what's it called? Yes, you are some performer. Doesn't necessarily mean that like you stop doing you stop moving and doing all these things, right? Yeah.
Who is that just came into the photograph?
So this is what I do when I'm not working.
Yep.
This is Kruby.
Hey, Kruby.
So he gets me out of the house. We go to the park. We go for
He's
walks.
like, yeah.
Oh yeah, all of my friends that I met in the last year because of him.
Dogs are dogs, cats too, but I'd say mostly dogs. Dogs are great social attraction things where if you go out in public with a cute dog,
Oh yeah.
you're going to talk to at least one person. That's not even
People have offered to buy him.
what.
Oh yeah.
It's like someone coming to offer to buy your son.
I've gotten $3,000 offers for this guy.
Oh, how much is your son? Is your son for sale? This is great.
The answer is he's one of a kind.
Yeah.
My goodness, I guess that's a testament to how cute he is, right? I mean, so
Yeah.
he
He's
should
got
put
his own
that on
Instagram.
his resume, So So what's next for Crew Me Up? What are you guys working on
So
right now?
we're working on partnerships with some really cool organizations, as you know.
Cool.
But V, you want to talk about the swag bag?
Oh yeah. We got a swag bag coming in. Swag bag campaign coming up. That's gonna highlight a few companies here in New York. You know, we just wanted to
talk about vendors and partners. So we partnered with Edge Auto. They've been huge supporters since we were like just tiny startup kids growing.
Right.
We did Hudson Radios. We got Brooklyn Zoo, New York, and so they've all given us bags and T-shirts and water bottles. And what we're going to do is a campaign to get people to download the app, create profiles, and then send us the profile. We'll enter you in a drawing. Every week, we're going to give away one bag for 5 to 7 weeks.
Oh, that's so cool. That'd be a fun. When is this going to start? Do you know?
B?
It's probably gonna start within the next week or two.
Oh,
sure.
Okay. So that's great because it'll be like right at the height of the summertime and all that. So it'll be a nice summertime thing for people to, be like, hope I win.
Yeah, absolutely. We just want
we
to
got
show
rags,
love to the
bracelets.
community. Yep. Yeah, I just wanted to show love to the people that that have always supported us and that continue to support us. Obviously, Street Team Studios is one. Lightbulb, Grip and Electric, obviously. But yeah,
that's awesome.
We're down to collaborate with everybody.
I obviously am a big supporter of you guys. You guys are doing great stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing like what comes of the future for you guys. It's
you're gonna be right there. What are you talking about?
Yep.
So you're gonna be right there with us.
I like it. Like you said, humble, man. Got to be humble. Got to add some humble in there.
But that's how we work. You already know, John. We're a community.
Yeah.
We look out for each other. And if there's anything you ever need, let us know.
Well, we have some stuff that we're working on as well, which I'll be sending over towards you guys' way. I'm actually right after this podcast, I have a call with one of my other partners to talk about it. So, and it's all, to me, it's kind of like, there's a lot of things happening this summer. I want when September rolls around, by that point, I want us to be like, oh, whew, that was a lot of stuff to do. All right, that's cool. That's cool. Let's do something. Let's keep the falls coming now. Let's get that going.
We are all about that.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. where can people find you? I would assume most people, we can get them to go up to crewmeup.com, and they should go up there. If you can't go into your app store, you go up to Crew Me Up, and you can go up there and click on either the iOS or the Android Google Play Store and download the app. I highly encourage you to do so if you are looking to do a production, because as people keep coming to me looking for stuff, I can't help you all the time, man. I don't know everybody. Okay,
but you will.
that's what they're there for. Yeah, well, but I'm sending them your way.
We'll take them. So we're here to be a resource.
And if you want to keep up with what they're doing, check them out. Follow them on Instagram at Crew Me Up. Guys, this was fantastic. You guys are welcome to come back on the show anytime you'd like.
We would love that.
Matter of fact, we may have to do a follow-up, at the end of the summer and find out what's new, what's happened, and because you know how the industry changes so quickly. And
V was just on FBI and Wu-Tang. I was just doing a movie. Might have another one in August. We'll have plenty to talk about.
Yeah. I would love, and beside the fact that we have, the fact that you're trying to get your stunt guy, and I had this. It's so weird that you're like the third stunt person that I have talked to on my show in a matter of weeks. So obviously, there's a lot of work being done in the stunt world right now because everybody's busy doing stuff, and that to me is fantastic. Actually, there's a guy I want to introduce you to, the who you probably you may already know. I don't know. I mean, you're in Hollywood. I don't know. Dustin Gwynn. I want to introduce you to him because he's always directing new projects. So I assume he'll use stunt coordinators and stuntmen for his productions. So he's on Facebook. I'll connect you guys on Facebook together.
Appreciate it.
And Josh, don't let anybody buy your dog, man.
I promise. This guy's got no one anywhere.
He's gonna be like, hey, they can't afford me, man.
Nope. He's very well trained. He spends most of his time in a backpack. So
that's where I want to spend most of my time, in a backpack.
So at Crewbie Rex, CREWBIE_Rex.
Right.
On Instagram, and you can see he's on V's back. He's got his own account. I don't. I do not have an account.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I used to have a rabbit, and my rabbit had an account and was quite popular for a long time. So I'm all for and so my friend, I have a friend who has a dog who has his own account too. I love when people give their pets their own Instagram accounts. I'd probably spend more time on their accounts than anyone else's. So
exactly. I mean, I put more energy into his than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, they are interesting. So, and they don't ask anything. They just love doing what they're doing.
Exactly.
So, guys, thanks so much for being on the show. And
it was our pleasure.
Again, let me know if there's anything I can help out with. We'll be obviously connecting behind the scenes for everyone. But that wraps it up, I guess, for us. Everybody, thank you for watching Drop the Mic. I am Darren Jenkins, and this was Drop the Mic.
Thank you, guys.